Hi.
Hi, love. How are you?
I'm good. I finally made it.
I know. Cecilia, you too. Lovely to see you. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, 1 second. Sit down. Sit. My dog is going nuts.
I'm waiting for mine to start barking.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is just 1 second. Sit down, please. Sit down. Hi, everyone. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Sarah. How are you going?
Very well. How are you?
Good, thanks.
And Donna is just connecting. Oh, good. This is great because I've already spoken to a few of you about the today's topic. So I'm excited for everyone to share their feedback and insights. And I'm interested to know a little bit about what clients are expecting when it comes to online shopping. So we will get stuck into it, and I'll just let people in as they arrive. Donna, welcome.
Hello there. How are you?
Good. How are you going?
Good, thank you.
All right.
I hope I don't drop out. I'm just on my iPad this morning.
Yes, lovely, lovely. So, ladies, nice to see you all. Does everyone want to just go around the room and introduce themselves so we know where everyone's from?
Yep, I'll start.
Oh, Lucy, thanks. Dead silence.
So my name's Lucy, and I'm based in Melbourne.
Beautiful.
Hello. I'm Donna. I'm also based in Melbourne.
Hi, I'm Kasia, and I am based in Newport Beach, California.
And I am Cecilia. I'm based in Wilmington, Delaware.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this is supposed to be informal, so I don't know why I'm sounding so formal, but let's kick it off. Cecilia, we spoke about this, I think, last week. So why don't you start? Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I just took the earphones. I'm alone today, so I don't need that.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'll just wait 1 second for Mari to join and connect with us. Just a few seconds. Mari, hi. Hi, lovely.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, darling?
Hello.
We'll just wait for that.
There's a couple of people in Google Meet.
Pardon, Mari? Sorry?
I think they need to switch over to Zoom instead of Google Meet.
Oh, yes. Well, give me a second, guys.
I think there's a couple people trying to log in from Google Meet.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave. I have them both open, so I'll just tell Marilyn to log in through Zoom.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you, love.
There'll be another there's a mic here. Let's get
We'll just wait a few seconds, everyone. Oh, yeah, so Marie's going to sort that out for us because there's some people that were on Google Meet and going to move over. Here we go. We'll let Melissa in. Melissa?
Hi.
Hi, love. How are you?
Good. Sorry, I was over on Google Meets. It was the first thing listed in the invitation, and so I thought that's what we were using.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. If you scroll down, Zoom is always my preferred platform for these chats.
Okay.
Google Meets, I'm not loving these days, I must say. What does everyone use for their virtual sessions?
Zoom.
Yeah, and I can record these sessions. So let's start. Melissa and Marie, did you want to introduce yourselves? Because everyone else has sort of said hi, and there's some people that haven't met before.
Sure, I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
So I live in the Midwestern part of the United States, and I work as a style and confidence coach for mompreneurs specifically. So I do body shape analysis, and then I'm just getting ready to offer color analysis and then a larger mompreneur style package. So I'm excited to be rolling out those new services.
Yay! How exciting. And Marie, can you hear me, darling?
I can hear you. Yeah, Marilyn just logged out, so hopefully she will be able to switch over to Zoom. Yeah, I live in Toronto, Ontario, working with female entrepreneurs in styling, on camera confidence, coaching, just kind of everything that you need. So I'm moving a little bit beyond just the styling space. So I'm incorporating mindset, your style appearance, your on-camera confidence, your self-care, self-love, and also a bit of your space organization in there too. So image and confidence.
Excellent. Marilyn, welcome. And Yana, welcome.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, love. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yana's in Queensland. Yana, did you want to introduce yourself? This is Yana from Queensland.
Yeah, I'm Yana from Queensland. My business is called Refine Your Style, and I've worked with Sarah for about 18 months now.
Beautiful. And Marilyn, we've got Marilyn here. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, Marilyn. Just introduce yourself for everyone.
I'm Marilyn Neal, and I am part of Sarah's Styling Advisory Collective. I think that's the right name of it these days.
Stylist Marketing Collective, that's right.
Styling Marketist Collective. And I got to know Sarah from doing the Growing Virtual class. I was in the first one. I think Cecilia was in that one as well. And I am a image consultant in Louisville, Kentucky.
Beautiful. All right, everyone. So what I thought we could talk about today is something that has cropped up, I think, with the advent of online shopping and virtual services. I thought it was important for us to consider how everyone is managing returns, availability of products when you're presenting them on a mood board or in a shopping video, let's say with ShopShare, or even just an email with links, what the client expectations are. And then, because I wanted to sort of add that once you've worked out how you're going to make sure that your time is covered, but that you still provide the best recommendation and it's a service that your client is happy with, that's actually something we can use as a marketing message to make sure that it's not kind of hidden down the bottom of a frequently asked questions section. It's something that we can use to proactively say, I will manage every part of this. Do not worry if things aren't available, because that may be some client concerns or a barrier to booking in. Cecilia, did you want to start and share? Oh, yeah, sorry. This just got a little bit of an echo, and it was my own voice. So, Cecilia, did you want to start by explaining what you do when you've recommended products and they're not available or the client doesn't like them? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Since our last meeting, I went to my website and I started updating in terms of recommendations in sizing. I have already written that they have, because I use ShopShare TV, to the idea that no one is holding the clothing for them. And so they have to take action. And if they have a question, they have to call me in 48 hours because things may disappear. But like, I will be talking to someone tomorrow that she's having challenges in finding clothing for her small bone person. She's not a petite person, but she's very small bone. So I'm already searching websites, but it's like shopping online is challenging even for myself, I think, because there are no standard pattern for the industry.
Yeah.
So I am not a 6. I am not a size 6 in France, in Italy, because I buy a lot from Yux. because I like the European size clothing, and it's a big challenge. It's just that sometimes I feel uncomfortable in having to return a lot, but there is no other alternative. What are you going to do? It's hard because one thing is to have a size 6 and someone asks what is like the bust 18, but when you have your flesh around your bones, Sarah, is a whole different mall. And I'm very concerned about the fact that retailers are telling that they will change the stores because now will be more like after pandemic, a showroom. What happened for those people, ladies that don't shop online? And one thing is to see things one thing is in your body. So it's complicated. I think it's very hard to shop online.
Yes. Everyone, please feel free to jump in with any ideas or comments here. This is a big issue. I think I've said this before. The forecast for the role of bricks and mortar stores over the next 12 to 24 months and beyond is shifting, which is interesting for myself as a consumer because I love the feeling of getting something immediately and I love going to stores and I love trying things on. But if the physical stores continue to reduce the amount of inventory that they hold on the floor and everything shifts more online, then it's up to image professionals to account for the additional time it will take you to continually be searching for things and recommending them. Maybe the client orders them, tries them on, they're the wrong size, and returns. So I don't know whether there's a solution yet. What's everyone else found to be the best course of action?
I have found that the time to deliver the items takes so much longer than it used to. And I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that or not, but it's taking way much longer.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. I'm not somebody who loves shopping online unless I've been into a store and I know exactly what I'm getting, because I'm a color consultant. I'm very particular about color, not just for myself, but for clients as well. Mm-hmm. And as was touched on already, the fit of something is really important and almost impossible to judge until you have that garment on, because every fabric is going to drape over the body slightly differently. So even if you have the dimensions right, doesn't mean that it's going to drape in the way that you expect it. And then, of course, because I'm quite tactile, I'm sure other people are too, the feel of a garment is really important to me.
I'm a fabric snob. Like Donna said, she's a color snob. I'm a fabric snob.
So if I may jump in here, so I actually do work a lot with clients online. I have a lot of clients, virtual clients in other countries as well. So what I actually have to do oftentimes with those clients is to shop at their retailers. So it wouldn't be US retailer. It would be, if I have a client in France, I will find a retailer in France. Luckily, I'm European, so I'm very good with European and UK sizing. So I can easily convert what would, the sizing be for them in the respective country. Mm-hmm. And I also know shops there because I've lived there most of my life. So I think there's two things that, helped me, and maybe someone will find this helpful for themselves, is doing a lot of research. So, going to stores, touching, checking different brands, touching the fabric, trying on, even if you're not buying, just to see how things are cut and how they lay. Even if it's for your client, you can still, try your own size and see, okay, it is true to size, or, this company runs small or this company runs large. Kind of getting that general idea that can help later with the clients. And B, which really helped me a lot, is setting the expectation with the client where communication is key. So if I have a conversation with my client, I tell them, listen, things will not fit sometimes right away. You may order 3 things and only 1 thing will fit. And once you kind of prepare them that, hey, it's not going to be all that perfect, the expectation is a little bit lower when it comes to fit. So they're like, okay, she said it might not fit. That's fine. And then also giving them options. I always give at least 3 options to one garment. So let's say that we're looking for a blazer, and I have my perfect blazer that I hope that's gonna work for them, right? But I will have my 2 backups. And you find those backups when you're looking for that perfect blazer, right? So like, okay, this is nice, but I would like to find something nicer, but I will put it a star on it so I can always go back to it. So when I'm creating my client style board with the perfect outfit, I will also attach those additional items saying, you know what, if this doesn't work or you don't necessarily love this one, here are 2 others that I found, great for you. And, to be quite honest, one of them will work. It's really very rarely that they won't. So that's kind of how I go about it. And the last thing, if I may, I also tell them, because, obviously they might be out of stock, or, if they wait too long, they might no longer be available. I will tell them I will actually set that expectation right away as well. I say, post-pandemic, companies are producing less. So it's not like the assortment is right now there at the high volume. So we have to act fast. So if I'm sending you the link today, try to put it, purchase it within the next 48 hours. I give 5 business days as a policy. If it's sold out, then I, on my time, will send them a different option. But if they come back to me after the 5-day period, then I will say, well, we have to, kind of sort out the timing now.
As in, they've got to pay for more of your time now. That's a really good point. Is everyone listing how long the period is between them purchasing? It's almost like the warranty or the returns policy. If it's 5 days, if you haven't tried to purchase it before that 5-day period, then you may need to book me in for another hour. Let's say. One thing I wanted to add to that, I haven't spoken about it a lot yet because I'm not too familiar with the tool, but Moonsift. Moonsift is a free new tool. Lots of new tools are popping up for stylists. But I think, Kasia, what you're saying is when you're finding a product, when you're doing your research and you're finding a product, let's say it's the jacket, and instead of having about 100 tabs open on your computer because you're trying to sort of reserve things and keep track of the maybes, the best ones, I think with Moonsift, it allows you to pull all of those products into an actual kind of dashboard, so you can have imagine Pinterest in the layout, but it's actually all of those. What do you use?
I actually use a platform called Hue and Stripe, which is amazing for, and there's another one called Garmentier, which I unfortunately am part of as well for different reason. Because there's no perfect one, I have to say. So, but Hue and Stripe has a great, it's a very user friendly, and it's great for actually storing those edits into your client's profile. So you can go, you go from Hue and Stripe to different websites, and you clip it, and all of those items will show on in Hue and Stripe, and it won't be seen to your client. This is kind of like a database that then you pull from there, you pull to your looks, but you always, you have all of those links in one place. So you don't have to have zillion tabs open.
Great idea. What's everyone else's experiences been like at the moment?
Sarah, can I just put something to the group?
Yes.
I think compared to some of the speakers, I'm a lot more hands off when it comes to the personal shopping. So I do get criteria of what people want. I do go and source everything. I'm using ShopShare TV, so I'm putting together a presentation of what people want and where they can get it. I'm ensuring the sizing and all of that is right. But then I just kind of hand it over to them, and it's up to them to think about dealing with the stores. I'm not taking responsibility for that bit, and I feel like the pressure is is so much less. So I was wondering what other consultants thought about that sort of hands-off approach. Like you just serve up to your client everything that they need to do, and then it's over to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear different views on that.
So if I may, very quickly, because I don't want to hijack this conversation.
No, carry on.
Yeah. So I mean, I totally understand Donna's approach. I offer concierge, personal styling / image consulting, branding. So for me, I'm very hands-on, but I get to provide this whole VIP experience and perhaps maybe justify the price that I charge.
To clarify, Donna, when an image professional sends the recommended list of products, let's say, are you saying that you send them the list, there you go, here's, let's say, the jacket, maybe 3 examples of the jacket in case one isn't available, and then your clients will then order them, manage returns? Because I think that's what everyone does. You're providing your clients with the recommendations. They will then order them and then try them on. Some of you will have built into that service maybe sort of like a virtual change room, you know, like a try-on session where once they've received products that you recommended and that they've purchased online, you might do a Zoom session where they get to try them on. So that's pretty standard. But I guess the question, excuse me, then is, from the client's perspective, what do they expect? What do they what would be a barrier to them booking in with you to get you, you know, helping them with online shopping? And I do wonder whether as a client they would think, but what happens when the things don't fit or I don't like them? So I think everyone does a similar thing. Am I right? Cecilia, you're mute.
Okay. I go to ShopShare TV. I did that for a wedding, a dress for a wedding. So I went and select all the dresses based on her size, based on her taste, and then I send her the link of ShopShare TV. So from there on is on her, how say in English, her turf, like for her to choose which one she wants. It's just like my timing is the time that I do the search and my interview with her ahead of time to know what she's looking for and everything. But from the time I send the link, like Donna, then it's her to dealing. And that's why from our last meeting, Sarah, I am updating the website. So I've already have there that they have to make sure that the sizes, they have to go fast, you know, and take action, because the stores will not be holding sizes for that. Like, and the size, but my experience here in the East Coast, there is one of the biggest malls that is like King of Prussia in Philadelphia, and the stores don't have that many choices. Even like there is a store specialized in small foot shoes for women, and the manager told us the company is not sending new styles because their main plan will be perhaps closing most of the stores in US and work mostly online. So I think that will be a huge challenge for a more mature clientele, because they don't shop, they like to touch. I like to touch.
Shoot.
I like to go and
so hard unless you're the perfect a perfect sample size, same as clothing. For me, I have to try the shoes on because comfort for me. I've spoken before about I would live in orthotics if I could. My friends are horrified, but there are certain categories that you really do need still that tactile approach, or at least the opportunity to try it physically.
I agree. I've got scarring just above my ankle, so with particular shoes and boots, I really need to make sure that the shoe or boot is not rubbing on my scarring and hurting that.
But I guess regardless of whether we like a physical experience or an online experience, retail will move in the direction that it's moving anyway. And the question becomes, okay, well, as as the amount of time and money we spend online shopping outweighs the physical experiences, how does a stylist insert themselves and in that process and make sure that we're delivering an exceptional service? Something that I think is important is when you are trained, as you all of you are, when you're doing research, it's much more thorough than someone like me who's not a stylist, who's not even really looking at the fabric. I don't understand. I'm just like, that looks pretty in the picture. And that's what someone that's not trained in color and composition and shape will be doing. It's sent to me, and then there's the sort of really frustrating returns and the money spent on returns if returns isn't included in the price. So I'm interested to see whether you ladies think that maybe the future of virtual styling shopping services will include unlimited revisions based on the knowledge that it's going to be really hard to get the right product at the first time, the first recommendation.
I don't think you should do unlimited.
Unlimited revisions, as in going back to the client and if something doesn't work, constantly trying to find something. Sarah?
Yes, I mean, it's so let's say, for example, you've given me the 3 options for the jacket and I order them, but all 3 don't fit. There's an issue there. There's sort of, I guess, my level of satisfaction isn't there for me to go, great, I'd like to keep it. And I also believe in the value of the service you've provided. So how do we, because ultimately it's our job to make sure that customers feel that they are better off working with a stylist for their online shopping and styling needs than doing it themselves. So to avoid that question of, well, what am I paying you for if I'm the one that's having to do it, just continually, return things and try new things. It's just, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just, that's where I was thinking.
I think you have a number in the back of your head for how many you would do totally.
And I also think that with retail changing, everything will be changing with it. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing retailers, being a little bit more flexible with, like we already seen it, right? Free returns. I mean, back in the days, you didn't have the free returns. You had to pay for it. They changed that. So I think, a lot of other things might also improve, where with some retailers, some of us stylists, if we work with them, they might allow, I already have a couple of retailers that I have that luxury with, where my clients is not charged until they pick which outfits they're going to settle on. So, that might be also at play, where professional stylists will be able to sign some sort of, contract, like I have with Nordstrom per se or Moda Operandi, where I can send, I believe, like at the Moda Operandi, actually up until 30 pieces in one box, and the client has about up to 5 days to return what it doesn't work and keep what they want, and that only at that moment they're being charged. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing more retailers actually, sorting out that sort of arrangement, if we are really pushing towards, retail taking over the space.
Yes, and to that end, I wonder, particularly for local, those of you that are looking to capitalize on your local clientele as well, which is another trend. Because of the pandemic, the consumer sentiment is geared towards supporting local boutiques and local retailers. So it may be an idea to reach out to a couple of brands that you typically recommend because of your clientele and say, look, is it possible for me to get some samples sent each season just so I can touch and feel everything and check the sizing? Or is there a way that I can come in and see the stock at the beginning of the season? So as Kasia said, building a relationship with the handful of brands that you turn to most, for your particular client, which is why it's important to have a niche client as well, because if let's say, as Cecilia was talking about, if your clients have small feet, then you'd want to have a monopoly over all of the shoe brands that run small sizes, and you'd want to also be able to have access to that fresh stock every season, so you are more confident in your recommendations and the client spends less time trying and returning.
And I think it just comes down to this also, that once you, at least that has been for my own clients, that we don't really shop, across 30 different brands. We kind of, have a few brands that we know, oh my God, those work really, really well. So the possibility of something not working is actually going small. And then if we trying out a new brand, then we're like, okay, we know this might not work. We're just going to give it a shot. And, once you prepare client for those imperfect moments, I don't know, I have not experienced problems with that, to be quite honest. And oftentimes I had clients returning things, but we were prepared for it.
That's the biggest key, being prepared for it, and the communication or the transparency. And for those of you that have heard me speak before about Amazon and using the product page, any product page on Amazon as a perfect template for how customers like to transact and purchase products today, all of the information is there. So you understand on that page, you don't need to navigate outside of it. You can see all the information about what will happen if I don't like it. How do I return it? What does it look like? So again, for stylists, on your services page, being very clear and transparent, not down the bottom hidden, but being on the front foot and explaining, this is what happens. As we know, when we're shopping online, sometimes the product looks different to the image. Who would have thought? But we will work together for 2 rounds of revisions, or you will have until 5 days from the delivery to try them on or receive them, whatever it may be. But using that information as a positive story to manage expectations is a really powerful way of improving the client experience, to make sure that they don't walk away and think, I could have done that myself, if I'm having to do all of the work additionally. So I think it's a good point to raise. I now invite.
Yeah, it is a good point, and it is a good point, and I'll need to do a bit more work on that particular page, I think.
Well, I don't want you to feel like you have to do too much, but at least just adding in, even if it's under the, this is the service title, this is how it works, or, these are the next steps. It would be just acknowledging what happens at, something like these product recommendations are subject to availability. With number 1, so we encourage you to purchase within 48 hours, otherwise we can't guarantee that they'll be available. Or if you decide to order some of these products and they arrive and they don't fit, or you don't like them, whatever the case may be, we are happy to include X amount of revisions or additional suggestions. It also means that you don't spend the next 6 months trying to finish off one client booking, by continually sending new recommendations if they say, no, don't like it.
Yeah, my clients have 2 revisions for whether, with this style books, I get them 2 revisions. So, but I'm always ready to have a backup plan.
And I think, for Kasia, you've mentioned before, you provide a concierge service. So your clients really do expect you to manage everything, which is fine. But then there's also a price point associated with that. So it also depends on who your client is and the type of service that you're offering. And I just wanted to clarify, just for anyone that's listening, when Kasia talked about with Modi Operandi or Nordstrom's actually sending physical product, up to 30 products in a box to a client, Garmentier is a platform that allows US-based stylists to choose stock from their partner retailers, and those retailers will actually package it up and deliver it to the client's home. So it completely eradicates the client's need to order things themselves. Were you using Garmentier in that example?
Yeah, so that's why I'm still with Garmentier, although their website is not as user friendly as Hue and Strive. I stay with them because of those great. That's kind of where I feel our styling industry is moving towards more organized and structured system. So with Garmentier, there are, I don't remember how many, but there are 10 companies, Misha Nono, Vince, Rebecca Taylor, and quite a few others offer not only pulls in the stores or appointments, but also what it's called style box. So you can pick pieces for your client that are going to be sent directly to a client, and the client is not going to be charged for it until there's time obviously when they have to return it, and they only gonna be charged for what they kept. So I feel like that's kind of the direction more and more professional stylists will be going towards.
Well, it's certainly a point of difference, being able to take away that step of the equation. So for those of you whose niche client is an executive, a professional working mum that doesn't have a lot of time but does need a certain level of service. This is someone that probably has, HelloFresh or whatever the US version is, where the food, your meals are delivered to you. They might have a personal trainer. So thinking about the other elements of their lifestyle, if they are essentially outsourcing everything, then this is an area that they will ideally want to outsource completely. So it's interesting to note, or just double check with yourself, who is my ideal client? Are they expecting me to manage everything, or are they happy for me to just guide them because they're happy to just manage it once they've been given some guidance?
Yeah, and I think also, I don't know how it is in Australia, but at least in US, in the region I am in, stores are starting to really up their styling game. So, now every associate is called a stylist. So there's a confusion about that. But they also provide more personalized approach, sometimes home deliveries even, So I feel like we have to kind of keep up with that more personal approach, because that's kind of, the stores are already pushing that. So I feel like we as stylists, I mean, at least in my region here, I have no other choice but really like provide that hands-on experience here.
It might be an idea, this has just come to my brain, so I haven't thought it through, but perhaps for those stylists that are looking for some sort of ongoing revenue model, like a subscription, perhaps unlimited revisions is what a client might pay for on an ongoing basis. If they know that they're able to access your recommendations and you just keep changing them up each time, and that's something that they might pay for as a concept. Lisa Ann. Yay, welcome. We're just chatting about client expectations when it comes to sending recommendations. Did you want to jump in and share your experience?
Oh, I just got beat up today about this.
Really?
Yeah, I used email and just lopped off a bunch of recommendations to her based on her screaming on Saturday that she's in crisis. And then she got mad because it's too many emails.
Right. So as in you sent your recommendations in individual emails?
With the link so she could just go right to her size and make the purchase. And yeah.
And she wanted it in just one email, perhaps with all of the links.
Maybe. Yeah.
And so our conversation has been around, well, what happens when you've sent those recommendations and they either don't like them or they order them and they're not happy with them when they arrive? How do you account for your time to have to go back and write something additionally? What have you done in the past?
I've just sort of eaten up, a certain amount of time for that because it's really, really hard to measure it out.
Unless you're actually timekeeping, which would be really interesting. Who actually keeps a record of how long they are taking to research? Anyway,
kind of
loosely.
It would
more or less.
It would be really, really valuable and interesting for all of you next time, for the next client that comes along. It's so frustrating, but try and keep a little log, even if you do half an hour and then you've got something else to do and then you do another 15 minutes. Try and keep a log, because ultimately something that I think we all forget about when we're running our own business is to account for our own time. And in the styling industry, because there isn't a sort of regulated rating system or pricing system, it is still important when you're running a business that you account for your time and then the profit margin. The profit margin isn't you and your time. So that's a hard cost to your business. If it took me 3 hours to shop for this client, and I typically charge $150 an hour, but I charged her $79 for a board, this is now a passion project for you, because you're spending money to be able to do what you do. So that is something that would be really interesting to note, because then it might be interesting. You might find that you're able to do, you're able to create some recommendations relatively efficiently. So then you could actually say, do you know what? I know it doesn't take me that long. So I could actually say, from a marketing perspective, unlimited revisions, because I know that they're always going to be happy after the second or the third one, and it only takes me an additional half an hour. So it's in my best interest to retain the client by wowing them with the flexibility of continual support. Just an idea, ladies, but it would be interesting to keep track of how long it's actually taking to serve a client. Melissa, what's your experience been?
Yes, I have one client who I do personal shopping on a monthly subscription basis, but she doesn't always really tell me if she's purchased. Like, she'll always say, like, if she's happy with the shoppable board that I send her, but she doesn't always give a lot of feedback, like whether I know she does buy some items. And then actually with my new service, this is something that we discussed, was how many revisions to do, because I'm going to be creating a personalized capsule with the pieces. So we're hoping to get ones, that would fit, because then I'm going to be making the lookbook with those pieces for their personalized capsule. So I do like the idea of, as we had talked about, giving at least 2 options for every item. And then the idea of managing the expectations of when to buy and when to purchase. I always am trying to tell my clients that right now stores just aren't carrying as much stock. So if you really want something, you need to try to jump on it quickly. Yeah. But kind of setting out like a day or a time frame, like was mentioned, I think would be a good idea.
Marilyn?
I think if you have, I was shopping for a client last night, and I spent way too many hours, and didn't end up with anything, because stock was low, and the time frame that she needed it was going to be shipped. It was going to arrive beyond the time that she needed it. So it was a shopping. I was very frustrated.
Is there a brand that everyone falls back on when they're in a tight spot where they need a quick turnaround and they need to know the garment will be good quality?
Sometimes I will do the Iconic in Australia. They've got better in terms of some of their designer brands that they stock. I'd say most of it's kind of like mid-quality, but you can be guaranteed that it can be there next day or within 2 days, 3 days.
Yes.
Do you do brand or do you do store?
Well, the Iconic is a multi-branded online retailer, so they've got their own sort of in-house brands, and then they facilitate delivery or drop ship from other brands to the customer. So it's a really in Australia, I agree, the Iconic is probably the most reliable source. I would say almost like Nordstrom in the US, that there's a huge.
I looked at Nordstrom last night. They didn't have what I was looking for.
Nordstrom also has a little bit of a long delivery. So if you saying that your client needed that ASAP, with Nordstrom takes 7 to 10 days, which is, I think you can do it like overnight, but it's not the easiest. I don't know what age group that client is, but for the mid age, I found in US, Shopbop, Forward, and those two actually have a really quick turnover. And great returns, and then there's one Canadian company, if anyone likes to use Canadians, it's called Sense. Very quick turnover, love it. It takes 2 days, and shipments are also really quick.
I'm writing that down because I haven't discovered those retailers. Sense and I know Shopbot. What was the other one?
Yeah.
Isn't Sense was the old Polyvore and they purchased Polyvore?
Yeah, they purchased it. Yeah, but
yeah, that was Sense. They're Canadian. I didn't know they are Canadian.
They at least.
What is the name of it again?
Sense.
I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in.
Yeah, I will. So I love it's really I think it's like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their shipments are literally, within 2, maybe 3 days, and the returns are never a problem. So I love for that factor. I don't like when they take long time to do both.
Mm.
And Shopbop, of course, but like I say, those are more like contemporary brands. Forward is a little bit more high end. So depending on what kind of clients and what kind of garment you may need.
Mm. Mm. Excellent, ladies. Well, it's about time to wrap up our session, but I hope you've all been able to take something away from each other's insights and ideas. I think this is a really valuable topic. And let me know if you end up seeing any changes to the service itself or client satisfaction. I think this is something as an industry we need to be clear and consistent with. So there is just that expectation of how virtual styling and shopping services run.
Yep.
Good.
Thank you, Sarah, and everybody.
Thanks, Donna. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.